So we are about a mile east of Savannah, and today we're visiting Fort James Jackson, also known as Fort Jackson, but if you're looking for it on a map or on their website, it's Old Fort Jackson. So we had some pretty good timing with this one. I don't know if you can see behind me, but they're doing a living history event, and also they're going to do a battle reenactment of the first Battle of Savannah when the British would actually take Savannah, and that took place on December 29th, 1778. So I just wanted to give you a full shot of Fort Jackson. And again, this is a recreation of the 19th century fort. Now, before this fort was built, a small fort was built in 1776, and it was just called, well, Mud Fort. But conditions here would be quite miserable, and it would be abandoned. But yeah, so this site dates back to the American Revolution. Now, Fort Jackson was named after James Jackson, who was a British-born political figure in Georgia. And Fort Jackson was constructed between 1808 and it would finish in 1812 to guard against the new British threat, obviously during the year of 1812. Now, Fort Jackson is a restored 19th century fort, and like I said, we're about a mile east of Savannah, and actually during the American Civil War, this was one of 3 fortifications that would defend the city of Savannah. We visited the other 2 in an earlier episode with Fort McAllister, and we also visited Fort Pulaski, which is by far the largest of the 3 installations. This is by far my favorite flag. So cool to see this thing flying.
Fire by truck! Get fire! That's all.
So this is something that's pretty interesting and something I never really put together. So when the cannon's ready to fire, it's going to be all the way up against the wall. Well, once it fires, how do you reload it? You can't reload it from out here. Well, you use this pulley system, which is super interesting. So the gun crew, get my shadow out of the way, but they'd pull this pulley, and that would pull the gun back. And that would allow them to clean the barrel, reload it with powder and a ball, and then after it's done being reloaded, they use these pulleys here, and that pulls the gun back up to the wall, and it's ready to fire for the next round. Very interesting. I never really put that together, that you can't really reload the gun outside the wall. Now they're getting ready to fire one of the main guns here at Fort Jackson, and from what the staff said, this cannon actually saw service in the Mexican-American War and during the American Civil War. So that's pretty cool. I think they also said it's going to fire up to 2 pounds of gunpowder. So it should be a nice loud noise.
Number 1, ready! Fire!
Oh my God, that was loud. So this is the first Battle of Savannah, which took place on December 29th, 1778. And things didn't go well for the colonists. They have already taken the first position. The colonists have fallen back to their stronghold, or strong point. But in January, the following month, the British would also take Fort Morris, which is south of here. And Fort Morris played a key role in guarding the port of Sunbury. So these few Georgia ports here offered little resistance to the British Empire during the American Revolution. I guess we better go inside, but my fiance is growing pretty impatient because I just keep staring at this flag. I want one for my man cave in the worst way. So now we're getting ready to head into Fort Jackson. You can see the moat here, crossing the drawbridge into the Sally Port. And common with these installations, you go from the Sally Port to what is called the parade, which is the center of the fort, really. Wow, this is cool. And here's some of the uniforms they have on display here. Obviously, the American Revolution. You have a Confederate set, and you have your Union set. Really cool. Always cool to see how the uniforms change over the years. So, again, this is the parade in the center of the fort, and this is something that I just learned. This is the Georgia secession flag. So obviously following the secession of South Carolina from the Union, Georgia would follow suit, and on January 19th, 1861. And this is the flag that would fly over Georgia's government buildings just briefly after the secession. So this is interesting. This is kind of the defense network of Savannah during the American Civil War. And right here, that's where we are, Fort Jackson. And also you can see just outside of Fort Jackson, the Battery Lee, along with several other batteries in the area. Huh, that's interesting. And apparently this fort here is Fort Boggs. I did not know that. And I don't even know if you can even visit this location. And last but not least, you have the Bay Battery right outside the city of Savannah. So that's interesting. So we're making our way into the artillery storeroom. Some of the accessories that you would use. Now this thing here is always cool to see, but they would put that down the barrel to remove any debris, such as like bird nest or anything like that. And this is just a giant sponge, and they would dip that in the water, slide it down the barrel, and hopefully sniff out any embers so you don't cook off around and kill your crew. Just another storeroom. So here's some of your well-known small arms of the American Civil War. But check this guy out. This is a barrel or keg torpedo. And this is something that would sit underwater. I'm not exactly sure how it worked, but I believe if you hit one of these fuses or pressure plates, it would explode. That's really cool. So this is interesting. It's going into just some of the units that were stationed here. This is the Republican Blues, who were called into federal service in 1812. And they spent some time here at Old Fort Jackson. In the American Civil War, you have the Emmett Rifles and the Bartow Artillery. And when the Union came to town, you had the 29th Ohio and the 55th Massachusetts. So we're making our way into one of the guard rooms here. And this is saying the guards and sentries of the fort lived and operated out of this room and would serve 2 hours on duty and then 2 hours off duty for a 24-hour period. And this would be their living quarters. Not bad. Again, in common occurrence, you'll usually see the enlisted men have bunks, and the officers and not commissioned officers' accommodations are usually a little better. I'm assuming just by the layout of this room. Would have been either a non-commissioned officer or an officer stationed in here. And if you were acting a fool, this is where you'd be. Right in here. So we're making our way to one of the walls here. I believe this is called the sentry box. And you can see it overlooks the main entrance or Sally Port here at the fort. And there's plenty of defensive positions here to guard the gate. Now these bigger ones would be for cannon, usually a short-barreled howitzer. And these smaller ones were usually for a soldier and a rifle. Give him a good cover and good visibility, but it'd be hard to hit him behind this wall. Now we're up on one of the main walls, but I believe this is the parapet here in front of me. And here's one of the many pieces of artillery that would have manned Fort Jackson. Just to put it in perspective, you can see the vessel out there, and obviously this is a modern day ship, but just imagine if you were a Union ship trying to come up the channel, and what a sitting duck you'd be for these static fortifications. If you're looking for a good place in Savannah to come enjoy the river and have awesome views, Fort Jackson is definitely one of those spots. I mean, let's look at the views here. It's a great place. Now, earlier in the video, we saw some of the other defenses mapped out for the city of Savannah, and a battery named Battery Lee. Now that would have been somewhere in this area here, just to kind of give you a layout of the land here. And like we said, we're right on the Savannah River, and this guy is going up this way, and that will go right towards River Street. So earlier in the video, they fired one of the cannons here, and it's this one. This is a 32-pound gun that saw service in the Mexican-American War and the American Civil War. And you can just see some of the ingenuity here. Again, these wheels would help turn the gun, and these pieces of wood can also help move the gun. Again, you gotta imagine how much this thing truly weighed. There's also a cool little piece. This guy would be inserted on the top of the barrel, and that would pierce the powder, which would allow the flame from the fuse to ignite the powder and launch the projectile. So I'm always amazed at how they were able to move such heavy objects. Well, this is called a gin pole, and this would remove the gun from the gun carriage here. So this lower piece is the gun carriage, and they'd use these pulleys and ropes to lift the gun off the gun carriage, and they can move it as they see fit. Really cool. I've never seen this before. So this is called a demi-bastion, and its purpose was to protect the flanks of the fort. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of protrudes out from the rest of the fort here. And they'd have these short barrel howitzers. Again, they were more for anti-personnel and shorter ranges, which is pretty interesting. Pretty cool little idea. And this is the wall facing the Savannah River here. Man, this is such a cool location. Again, Fort Jackson is part of the second system of fortifications. And if you've ever been to what is called a third system, you would notice that Fort Jackson is a dwarf compared to some of those larger third system fortifications. But man, this fort is awesome. Great views of the Savannah River. But you gotta think, if it's high tide or we get a storm, there's probably some flooding issues here. So I was getting ready to leave here at Old Fort Jackson and found these guys. These are guns from the CSS Georgia, which was an ironclad that was scuttled in the Savannah River. And by scuttled, I mean they sank it on purpose, essentially. And these guns went down with the ship. And this looks like another piece of the ship that was recovered, but I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here. But nonetheless, it's really cool seeing something that went down on the river just on the other side of these hedges here. So a few things that are interesting about the CSS Georgia. Two Macon women prompted a statewide campaign to build the ironclad vessel for the protection of Georgia's coastal and riverside towns. But apparently the engine was too weak to move the boat up the Savannah River, so it was essentially a floating battery that was anchored off the coast of Fort Jackson. If you ever get an opportunity and visit Savannah, break away for a bit and come a couple miles east and check out Fort Jackson. I promise it's worth it. The living history event behind me was totally worth it. Learned a bunch, and yeah, it's just a great location. So again, if you're ever in Savannah, pay Old Fort Jackson a visit.